Hello and a very warm welcome to the Real Talk. How are you doing? Did you have a fantastic week? We do hope so. And I would love you to be part of this show all the way from the beginning to the end. Make use of the hashtag The Real Talk. Let's have a conversation. As you get to know more about the guest that we're having today, you get to learn and you share what you have learned. My name is Jackie Lumbasi. We are at Mythos Boutique Hotel. They have the newly renovated Atmosphere restaurant. Please check them out on social media. On Twitter, their Twitter handle is at atmosphere_KGL. We're talking to an artist today. I'm excited about this conversation because this is someone I have always looked forward to having a sit down with. Let's get to meet our guest. Welcome to the show. Our guest is Malaika Uwamahoro. She's an artist. Good to see you, Malaika.
Thank you so much for having me, Jackie. I appreciate it. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Thanks for saying yes. It's something I looked forward to for a very long time.
Me too, me too. I'm excited to be here.
Great. Malaika, I want us to start from that place where you started. Today we know you as a big-time artist. You know, you're into poetry, music, and so much. Where did it all start? If you can give us a little bit of that background, and then we will move on to what is keeping you busy today.
Sounds great. As you said, my name is Malaika Uwamahoro, and I'm a Rwandan artist. I was born here in Rwanda. And I think my journey as an artist started very young, at a very young age, because 3 months after I was born here in Rwanda, we moved to Uganda, and I lived there with my family. And my family is there. Everybody's an artist in their own right. So my mom was an interior designer. She still is an interior designer, but she worked for the airlines. But really, that was the thing that artistically kept her busy and with her craft. My grandma was a tailor. My uncles were visual painters. And my aunts were performing artists. So
that's interesting.
And I grew up like with all of them around. So they were always doing.
And your siblings? Did you have any siblings?
At that time, it was just me. I got my siblings when I was much older in life, like around 11, 12.
Oh yeah, it was way older.
It was way older. So I kind of grew up with.
Surrounded by these adults.
Exactly. And I really thought that they were like, we were the same age or something. So everything that they were doing, I was trying to imitate. And I think that that's how I really came into the art world. And started participating at a young age in like the Sunday schools, and if they had a play, I would definitely be part of it, or like after school programs at school that provided acting or singing or dancing. I was always part of that. So really that's how I grew to become an artist, and I feel like it's just stuck ever since then.
Oh, great. When was that moment that separated the young Malaika artist to the main one who we see today? At what point then did this become commercial? Did this become your career?
I think I would say it was when I was 15 when I joined Mashirika Performing Arts, which is the leading theater group here in Rwanda. And the artistic director is Hope Azeda. So yes, I joined Mashirika Performing Arts, and it's then that, I even started getting paid to do what I was doing. So I think that's what changed it from, okay, it's games and hobbies to now it's a profession and it's serious.
For a lot of 15-year-olds, I'm older than you, so really, at 15, it was just me, books, and house chores. How were you able to join a whole outfit at the age of 15? You should have been doing your homework or studying. Why are you even earning at that age?
Well, I mean, definitely my parents wanted me to do just that, to just like be immersed in my books and really focus on school. But the truth is I had a real love for the arts, and the arts had a real love for me. So as much as, I had requirements from my school life, this was also a requirement for me. And because I had always been making the time for it when I was younger, like, finding ways to do my schoolwork, but at the same time go for rehearsal and stuff like that. I grew up like that. So when I was 15, it was no different. Of course, it was harder to convince my parents, please, I really want to do this show, and we have to travel for 3 months in the UK, and they're going to give us a tutor?
And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, so there was a lot of what do you call it? Negotiations that had to happen, serious negotiations.
Yeah.
But all worth it, and yeah, definitely something that I felt was my calling, and I just had to do it. When it's a calling, you kind of have to, and life will make a way for that to happen.
Do you remember the first time you were paid for it?
Yes.
And how you spent that money?
Yes.
Oh, share that.
Chocolate.
Brown, white, or dark chocolate?
Milk chocolate, Cadbury. Yes, I bought so much chocolate with my money. I mean, yeah. So
You didn't take that money to your mom to save it
I'm
for
sure
you?
she had like some of it, but most of it had to go to chocolate, and buying enough chocolate for myself, for my cousins, for my friends. Like everybody had to know that, I got you on the chocolate. I got
Exactly. Amazing.
Yeah.
Do you have any people that influenced you at that age, that young age, whom you carried on? You still have them in your life today? You're still in touch with them?
Yes,
Who are
absolutely.
they?
So because, so we moved back to Rwanda in 2001. And I was 11 at that time, and there wasn't much arts going on in Rwanda at the time. Like, that just wasn't the priority. So when I got to know about Hope Azeda and Mashirika Performing Arts and Isha Arts Center and Carol Karemera and just these amazing women that were in the arts, like obviously at that moment they become, the people that you look up to and that you want to learn from and that you want to be around. So definitely I'd give a shout out to those two ladies and everybody, every cast member that I was with, at the time who were much older than me, but who, took me in and we had fun together, this craft.
They
like,
mentored you.
Yeah, they did,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
How many languages do you speak?
Fluently, I speak 3.
Kinyarwanda?
Kinyarwanda, English, and French.
Yeah.
And then I understand a little bit of Swahili. Yes.
Kidogo.
No, actually, I understand a lot of Swahili. I just speak very little.
Okay.
Yes. And Luganda, I understand a lot. I speak very little.
Oh, lovely.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you remember any of the places you performed at in Uganda? Did you go to the National Theatre?
I don't think I've performed in Uganda except for at school. I went to school at Rainbow Academy, like years ago for my primary, but I actually haven't performed in Uganda yet. Maybe
You should
soon.
think about it.
Yes, maybe soon.
I'm sure there's someone watching.
Yeah, I would
somebody
love to invite me.
Exactly.
Let's do something. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. So because I know you're multi-talented, between music, poetry, acting, which one did you do first? In what order did these things happen?
Yeah.
And why didn't you pick one as opposed to being a jack of all trades?
Right. I think the one that I started with, which I'm trying to get back to, really and truly, is dancing. I started with dancing when I was younger, and I thought I was going to be a dancer. But that slowly changed, and I think one of the things that happened is school. School changed that because school required me to stay still. And so when I was staying still, I still needed a way to express myself, which is kind of a way that at first, so from dancing, I went to singing, because I could be still, but I could still move with my voice or move people with my voice. And then I was completely Anglophone, and then my parents moved me into a Francophone section. So now my teachers were telling me to be quiet in class because I was always humming and singing. And so now I couldn't dance, I couldn't sing, so now that's how I started to write poetry. So in every stage of my life, I was kind of forced to find another way to express myself. And I think it's been difficult to have to let one thing go and move on to the other, but it's also been a really interesting journey to get to know all of those different art forms, and to find a way to relate to them, and then to later in life find a way that they relate to each other and that they support each other. Because I think now, even with my poetry, there's a lot of acting that goes into it, and there's a lot of music that I put into it, and so I'm able to see one art form as many art forms and then strengthen it that way.
Yeah. Talking about the journey, what is the best thing that has come out of your career?
The best thing. I I think me. I'm the best thing that's come up because I think there's been a lot of character development. You know, I think that you striving to be an artist and the things that you have to go through in order to reach that, and how there's a lot of failure, but you have to like pick up and continue. How you have to face rejection, but then you develop thick skin for that, and how sometimes things can be so tough even financially, but you have to be creative and find a way to make it happen regardless. So I think at the end of the day, like, there's been many difficult things, but it's developed my character, and
Beautiful.
I think that I think that
You've come out of all of it stronger.
yeah, for sure.
When you look back, is there something that you wish you had done differently?
Like in life in general,
Especially career-wise.
career-wise.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I think I've made the right decisions. I will say that at some point, so I was offered a presidential scholarship to go to the US to study. And this was a very unique opportunity because I was studying what I wanted. I wanted to study theater and performing arts, and I did so at Fordham University. And that was amazing. But at the same time that I was having that offer, I also had the offer of a world tour to take on a play and to like see the world. And I remember that being a conversation between me and my mom about what should I choose. And I think we made the right choice to choose school, definitely, because it really helps that I have that knowledge and that skill set. But I always wonder, like, what if? What if?
What if? Yeah.
What if? No, but I'm very happy because the world tours can still happen. The world tours can still happen.
Yeah.
And will still happen.
Yes.
Yes.
What goes through your mind when you get an opportunity, and it's a big opportunity, you're going to feature in this play, in this movie, and it's an international production. You're carrying the flag of Rwanda. What goes through your mind when you have such a responsibility as an artist?
Yeah, the first thing that goes through my mind is finding out a way that I can be true to the character, and that's where I try to stay, that's where I try to live, because I know that if I'm true to the craft, if I'm true to my craft and I'm true to the character, then all the rest, the work is done. You know what I'm saying? The work is done, and I can honor the story that I'm telling. So I'm always really focused on the storytelling and on the art and my part, how I can bring that out in the best way, in the most authentic and the most honest way. Yeah.
Poetry, the poetry scene in the country. Are you happy with how things are?
I think that we're on the right track, and I think that I might have just shaken things up a little bit. Fantastic. Right, with my latest project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the latest projects. We're taking a break and we will be back. Glad to have you with us on The Real Talk. We have Malaika Uwamahoro as our guest today. She's done poetry, she's a singer, she's an actress, she's an all-round talented young woman that I admire so much, and I know that you do as well. If you have any questions, please send them through. I do hope and pray that out of this conversation, if you're an aspiring artist, you'll get a lesson, you'll get something that will carry you onto the next chapter of your career. We'll be back in a short while. We are at Mythos Boutique Hotel. Welcome back. It is The Real Talk. Our guest is Malaika. So, Malaika, you have the latest projects. In essence, it's like the rebirth of Malaika. So, what's your comeback? I know that you've released an album in the past few days. If you can talk to us about that and any other project that is currently keeping you busy.
Sure. My latest project is called Rhymes of Remembrance. And it's a 25 audio-visual album that speaks on the history of Rwanda from before colonization up to today. It's a collection of 5 poems, and it's dedicated to the victims and the survivors of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. And yeah,
What is the inspiration behind it? I've listened to the album. It's amazing, and I love the blend, the
you.
Kinyarwanda, English, and French. I love it so
Thank
much.
you.
So, what is the inspiration behind this album?
Well, the inspiration behind this album, I think there's a lot to say about what inspired me, but it is a collection of poems that I've done in the past. And as an artist and like my journey right now, I'm very interested in doing bodies of work instead of just doing singles here and there. I think that it's time that, you know, I have my own bodies of work. In the past, I've contributed a
What do
lot.
you mean by bodies of work?
I mean, like this
Like
is
an album, a
yeah, this is,
collection
yeah,
or
like
something?
a collection, an album, because you know you'll have one poem here that I do in January, then the next poem you'll see it in December, and then you
Oh,
see.
yes.
So it's about time that I have something that you know we can call a collection. And I was looking at the poems that I had already, and deciding okay which ones would be great in a collection. And also when I was reading, I was like, oh wow, these poems, they're actually really powerful and they can serve a lot of purpose, and it would be such a shame, I think, to just let them go or let them die, or ignore them, or pretend like
Or
they
for them to never be heard?
exactly.
Yeah.
So, and to never be heard in the way that I've always pictured them to be heard, you know. So I think that I was very, very interested in doing that. And so when I went and I looked at all the poems that I had, which were very, very many, I came up with 4 collections. And I decided that I wanted my first to be about Rwanda. And that's how I came up with Rhymes of Remembrance. And so this is a collection of 5 poems, and I've rearranged them so that they are in the order of our journey. And I wanted it to be something that the youth can listen to and understand and learn from, because you know a lot of times the way we learn history is just not interesting.
Yeah.
And so I really wanted to make this a way which you can, it can be a starting point. I'm not saying it's going to solve all the problems that we have, but it can be a starting point if somebody wants to learn about the history of Rwanda. And I think another thing that Rhymes of Remembrance does is that, you know, a lot of times when we talk about the history, we talk about statistics, we talk about numbers and facts, and our history gets told like that. But something that Rhymes of Remembrance does is that it accounts for feeling, it accounts for emotions. And I think that
Events.
yes, yeah, it's just a space that holds emotions, because I feel like a lot of times, especially other, you know, people from the West, they don't really understand what we went through. They think that they can summarize it with an article or summarize it with, you know, there's just a lot of things that people miss. And so I feel like this album carries the emotion, and of course not all of it, but it does shed a light to how we feel as Rwandans. And so I think it's a really, really important album, you know, for the youth, for anybody yearning to learn about Rwandan history through the means of creative arts.
Yeah. There are 2 titles there now that you're talking about the misinformation and people thinking Rwanda is what is in a movie, a 58-minute documentary. One of your titles is Rwanda is not Hotel Rwanda.
Yes.
Can you expound on that?
Yes, sure. So, like I said, I've been traveling for, I mean, like for work, like for a long time, since I was 15. And every time I would travel and tell, you know, the good people of the world, I'm like, hi, my name is Malaika Uwamahoro and I'm from Rwanda. A lot of times people would be like, oh, like Rwanda, like Hotel Rwanda? And I think that it started to annoy me a lot, because I was like, I just didn't relate, and I knew the truth about, you know, the movie and what Hollywood was saying versus what actually happened. And I think that for the longest time I was like, no, not like that. But then I was like, okay, but what are you doing about it, Malaika? Like, besides complaining.
Besides telling them, no, not that. Yeah.
Besides,
Or
yeah,
else
besides.
how are you educating
exactly,
them?
how am I solving the problem that I have? And so in 2013 is when I wrote that poem. I wrote Rwanda is not Hotel Rwanda. And
2013?
yeah, in 2013. And I decided in that poem to write down everything that Rwanda actually is, you know. And yeah, there's many things I say about Rwanda, you know, and I
Can you give us a recital?
a recital.
Yeah, please give us.
I'll give you.
A cappella.
Yeah, let me give you like
Yeah.
the maybe like the first stanza. Then you
Exactly,
gotta
the first stanza.
You gotta
Give us an
go
idea.
to Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes,
Yeah.
AudioMac to get the full version. But it goes, Rwanda is not Hotel Rwanda. No, Rwanda is the heart-beating life of Africa, the world's example and definition of hope, resilience, and ambition. If you haven't yet heard, listen. Grab a pen and learn because Rwanda is a lesson. Rwanda is where the great Kivu Lake rests in, where the birds of the Nyungwe forest nest in, and the foreign investors fly all the way to invest in. What's happening right now in Rwanda is interesting, and it's amazing to be a part of and watch.
Yay,
That's just like a little
that is
bit.
so beautiful. Okay, the
Thank
second one,
you.
I'm dying to hear the
No,
second
you gotta go
stanza.
listen to the album. Go listen to the album.
So where do we find it?
You can find it on Spotify, iTunes, iMac, AudioMac, Amazon Music. It's now also on the social media, so Instagram, TikTok, and all of the good stuff. We will get it on YouTube very soon.
That's
Yes.
beautiful. Yeah. Investing and amazing and interesting and all those things. There's also another title that I found interesting. We Lost When We Forgot.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
What's the story behind that?
We lost when we forgot. I was really just meditating on how did we end up having a genocide? You know, how did we really end up having a how did Rwanda, how did we get here? How did we get here? And like, what are the things that happen? And I realized that, you know, just looking at the history and the books that I was reading and the plays that I was a part of and all of these things that I was coming across that were teaching me about my history and the, you know, the stories I was hearing from survivors, something got lost there. Like, we lost a connection that we had that was very, very strong. And I think that we began to lose our values, we began to lose our culture, we began to lose the relationships that we had, that we were cultivating between us. And so we lost when we forgot is kind of a warning sign that we should remember who we are and remember the things that bring us together and the things that make us stronger as a people and as a country. Because when the colonialists came, they saw a very unified people, a very organized people. And the only way for them to successfully divide us was to create imbalance and hatred and segregation within us. And it took very many years for it to actually work, but it worked. And I think it happened slowly. I think it happened very slowly. I think it happened, but it was planned very meticulously. It was planned, and it happened slowly. And I think that one thing that I'd like to highlight with We Lost When We Forgot is that even now, in Rwanda 2024, Rwanda is open. You know, Rwanda is opened to the world, and I think that's an amazing thing. There's so many cultures, and there's so many people and investors who are coming here, and I think that's beautiful. But I also think that as great as that is, that we should try and hold on to the values that make us Rwandan and to the values that.
Do you think like we forget sometimes?
I think that
You know, when everything is so good,
I
as
think-
you've said, all is
yeah.
great. Yeah.
I think that we can forget. I don't think that we have forgotten, and I also think that we need to think about like what do we mean necessarily when we're saying that you forgot, right? I think there's a way to be modern, and there's a way to modernize the culture and the mindset and all of these things, and I'm for that 100% because I'm a representation of that myself. I'm a modern day Rwandan woman, and that's very different from what we were pre-colonization. But what I'm talking about is some of the values that really make us us, and the unity that makes us us. I think that anyone who comes to Rwanda and is trying to be divisive, divisive, and is trying to, I think we should be aware of those things and
these things should make such a strong bond that
Yeah.
indeed when somebody tries to divide us, they don't succeed.
they don't succeed at all, because I
Yeah.
think that's what happened that's how we were able to get to the
I
genocide.
get that.
Yeah, so that's
So
why I said,
using poetry, and I come from a time where studying in Kenya, my primary, secondary school, art was such a big thing. We've got the art lesson, and every once in a while in a week, we recite poems. We are part of the drama group. Is that done here? Do you feel like we use art enough to educate the population? Because even what you're doing now, you've got this material online, and there's a certain population that probably does not have access to the internet, they're not online.
right.
What can we do to ensure that art is fully utilized in, as you've said, keeping us together and in check, and as well as educating the younger generation,
Right.
yes, about the history of the country?
I think that honestly, I think that that's one of the reasons I wanted to have Rhymes of Remembrance be the first project that I do, because I wanted it to be an avenue where people can see that art can really do things, art can heal, art can transform people's hearts and minds, and it can be used as a social transformational tool to make real changes. And I wanted to give an example of what like a quality piece of art can do. And the reason I put something like this online is so that it could be available to everyone. Now I understand that there's many people who don't have access to internet and things like that. But I'm also working with different ministries here to see how we can go to these schools and start to use a project like this so that they can learn history, so that they can learn how to write poetry, because I don't think we're doing enough in the schools with art just yet, which is understandable. I mean, we've only just come out of a genocide. Like, I don't expect people to make art a priority. There's somebody who I was talking to, and they were saying art is the rich kids' Olympics. So, it's a very, before you get there, you have to like worry about health. You have to worry about, you see, before somebody can really invest in the arts, there's so much that you already have to take care of. So I understand why we haven't got there yet, but I do feel like we're in the place where we can now do that.
Yeah. So other than this album, now the album is out, and I'm sure a lot went into it. What else are you doing? What else is keeping you busy? What should we look forward to? Yeah.
There's so much. Rhymes of Remembrance definitely has been one of the biggest things that I'm working on, but I have a lot of other business ventures that I'm looking into that I'm excited. I can't say anything right now, but
Are they still art related?
no.
Okay.
This is business related, so I'm really, really excited to step into that world. And but I think you'll start seeing a little bit of that like next year, early next year. You'll start seeing some of the fruits of these other ventures. But other than that, I'm part of a couple of films that are either out or coming out soon. Fight Like a Girl, which I was co-starring with Ama Kwamata. She was the star. I was the co-star. And that talks about a female boxing club in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And it's a really empowering story. And I loved being a part of that story because it's very empowering for women when they watch that story in terms of like following your dreams and fighting for what you want. It's a feel-good kind of film. I'm very excited about that one. I have another film called Alkebulan, which Alkebulan is the real name of Africa. I'm not sure if you know that.
No.
Yeah, it's
I
the real
didn't know
name. It's
that.
the original name of Africa, and so this
Wow.
film is supposed to be a sci-fi drama that brings together all kinds of artists from different parts of Africa. So we have Zimbabwe, Kenya, Senegal, and yeah, I'm really, really interested to see what that's going to be like. And then I have The Heights of Kigali, which hasn't been shot yet, but it's about a queer couple here in Rwanda looking for love and sorry, looking to have a baby. And I think that's very, very interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's
I would love to
interesting,
see
and
it
I'm really,
whenever it
really
comes.
happy to be a part of that film because I love love and it's a dramedy, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've won awards, recognition on different platforms, both, internationally, locally and internationally. Which one stands out for you? Which one is the most memorable award or recognition that you've received?
I would say, I would say my scholarship. Because
That's a big one.
yeah, it's a big one. Like, who's gonna pay your tuition to go to a very expensive school to study art? Yeah. So for me,
It's not robotics.
no,
It's not,
no.
So the science, there's all this whole
Yeah.
big deal with science. And then somebody's paying that much
Yeah.
for art.
So for me, I really appreciate that's been the biggest gift, the biggest recognition, the biggest award, and I'm really excited to find ways to give back to my community through what I was able to learn. And I feel like Rhymes of Remembrance is one of the ways that I'm doing that. So I'm excited.
Okay, so back, again, Rhymes of Remembrance, back to that album. When you look at how much work went into it, do you feel like we appreciate it enough? Do you feel appreciated enough?
Listen, I feel like as much work as it was to make, that's it's gonna take that much time for people to understand and realize what it is. And I'm just happy it's out. The rest, it will happen in due time. It's for the people. So whenever the people are ready, the people are ready. Like,
and it's out there, they will find
no
it.
stress. You'll find the project, you'll find me, you'll find what I'm doing with it. I'm not even, like, as much as we've released the audio and the artwork, I'm not done. I still have to do the photo shoot. I still have to do, there's so many things that are still happening in the world of RR that we are going to bring to life slowly. So whenever you get 25 minutes of undivided time, tune in and experience this journey through time with me.
I listened in and I loved it so much.
Thank you.
Of course, the French threw me off a bit, but the rest of the message was quite clear. When among our artists, our Rwandan artists, do you see any one of them with the potential to diversify? There are those that are strictly Kenya trap or R&B.
Yeah.
Considering poetry and the power that you've seen in it, have you spotted anyone who you think, if this one went into poetry, their voice, their energy would work?
Absolutely. I think, so another thing that I do, other than doing my own work or, being in other people's projects, is that I'm hired to conceptualize and direct shows. So recently, I was actually asked to conceptualize a piece for our president's inauguration, and it was a very short.
It was your voice.
Yes,
I heard your
you heard
voice.
me?
I heard you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, how I work is I really listen to a lot of Rwandan artists, and I listen to their lyrics, and I listen to what they say, and I listen to how they deliver, and I listen to and I watch them, perform, whether it's live or I take my time to listen to Rwandan artists. And one thing that I love doing is taking a rapper, a Kenya trap rapper, and saying, hey, we're gonna do this inauguration. Can you come and let's do this. Let's co-write. Let's co-perform. And I have somebody like Kenny K-Shot, who is a rapper. He's a rapper.
He's amazing.
So I get him in the studio, and he raps really fast, and I just gotta say, like, let's slow it down a little bit. Just turn the speed down a little bit. Let's go like this. Let's go into this direction in terms of like what we're trying to say. And it works perfectly, because if you hear that piece, it's me, then Kenny K-Shot, then Inky, and Hervé, and Bakuli. So each one of them is, Inky is like, he like sings R&B. And so to have him come now on poetry / cultural beat. Like, it was super interesting. But I just identify the talents and then bring them and direct them into another.
It was a perfect blend
and it
of
makes it
talent.
so interesting because they still bring their essence, with them, and that's kind of what you want to keep things fresh. So I've noticed very many talents that can they can be good actors, they can be good poets, they can be so many different things.
And I think with your help, you will, some of them who haven't discovered such hidden talent, with your help, they should be able to, to shine,
Absolutely.
Amazing. How did it feel to be part of the conceptualization of that idea during the inauguration? This is a big deal.
No, it's the hugest deal. It's the biggest deal. That was a really powerful day. It was I mean, for Africans, I think we're gonna look back at that day and just realize how blessed we were to be a part of it. So for me to even have a say in that on that day, I think it was such an honor.
I'm looking for your tweet.
Yes,
you recently put out a tweet. I'm looking for it. Yes, I loved it. Give me 1 second. You said, so on August 11th, our president, His Excellency Paul Kagame, was sworn in, embodying the African dream. It was a moment where the dreams and prayers of our forefathers and mothers met the promise of our generation. I'm sounding like a poet.
There you see?
You
You're
know.
doing it.
It's your writing.
Thank you.
And he said, what an honor to speak from the heart on such a historic day. Grateful for this unique and blessed opportunity. Kabia Nzozi. And then, then of course down there, you said this day became a powerful portrayal of what Africa truly is, can be, a utopia of hope and strength. Kabia Nzozi, a poem I had the honor to write and voice alongside. Then you mentioned the people that you worked with. So indeed, it was the hugest deal.
It is the hugest deal. And I really, know, I think that our African forefathers and mothers prayed for a leadership that would really put their people first, prayed for a leadership that would be united, prayed for a leadership that, would showcase the strength and unity that we have. And, to see that many presidents come and support us, and to see the Rwandan people just there, like you just had to be there.
Yeah.
You just had to
be there.
I'm not even sure that all of the videos, I don't think that.
You don't think the videos and the images portray it well? Oh, I spent the whole day watching it on TV. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you felt something, but...
No, I did. I felt so good. I felt so good.
Right.
As you keep saying, I look around and I'm like, oh my God, every time I see somebody saying, what a joy to be Rwandan, I'm thinking, what a joy to be an African witnessing this happening in Rwanda. Because as you've said, what is happening here speaks about Africa and the potential of Africa, indeed. And if only God could help us, that the entire continent tries to just emulate just a little bit.
But I think that's
of
part
what
of
is
it.
going on.
I think that the fact that other African leaders got to come and see that, I think it's a ripple effect.
Let's hope they took something back.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
Let's have a look at 6 Qs, Malaika. Okay. Oh, before we go to 6 Qs, anything you want to add as we edge towards the end of the conversation?
No. Okay. Thank you.
Prepare a poem because you're going to give us rhymes of remembrance as we're signing out. Let's have a look at Malaika's 6 Qs. We're so happy to have you with us on The Real Talk. Send a question or a comment. Both Malaika and I will be online waiting to respond to you. This is The Real Talk. If you have any suggestions on how to improve the show, who to get on the show, reach out and we will work on that. We're at Atmosphere Restaurant, no, Mythos Boutique Hotel in Kigali. But while you're at it, if you come to Atmosphere Restaurant, you will enjoy their weekly lunch. Let's have a look at 6 Qs. Glad to have you with us on The Real Talk. Malaika, my first question.
Sure.
When you look at your life, what are you most thankful for?
I am most thankful for my family.
Wow.
Yes.
We thank God for that.
Yes.
What is the best life advice you've received?
The best life advice I received is jiraneza wigendere, which means do good and go.
In Kiswahili, tenda mema, nenda zako.
Tenda mema, nenda zako.
Yeah. It will find you. If there's
Yes.
any good that will come out of your good deeds, that will find you.
100%.
Indeed. Say it again in Kinyarwanda.
Jiraneza wigendere.
Fantastic. What is your favorite hobby?
I would say I enjoy hiking.
Hiking.
Yes.
Oh gosh.
These
I don't.
Rwandan hills,
Yes. You love them. You make use of them.
I gotta love them.
Yeah.
They're ours. I got to. I gotta learn to love
So
them.
I cannot hike, but I can walk. I can walk long distance. There are times I walk from Mythos up to Kichukiro that I can do, but not
Isn't that hiking?
climbing. Okay, that's hiking, but
In
not,
Rwanda.
not your kind of hiking. Oh yes. Anyway,
No,
in the hilly.
Anywhere you are in Rwanda, if you're taking a walk from Kisemendi to the stadium, you're hiking.
That's true. You're hiking.
It's a hike.
Oh my goodness. I was thinking it's Chinyinya area and those are the hilly places.
That too, but
Yeah, but still. Yeah.
everywhere you go, there's a hill concern.
Very
So
true. Yeah.
it counts.
Great.
It counts.
The other question is, what word best describes you? A single word that describes Malaika.
I'm brave.
You're brave.
I'm brave.
No doubt you are. The things you've been able to do and the
Right.
things that you keep doing. And lastly, what would you say to your younger self?
No boys.
Oopsie.
No
What?
boys, girl. Just focus.
No
boys.
boys.
No boys.
Okay. Are you going to have an age limit or something?
No.
Or your younger self, did boys do something to the younger Malaika?
I just feel like we would have been farther.
If it wasn't for the boys.
If it wasn't for the boys.
I hear you.
You know what
Oh
I'm
my
saying?
goodness, I hear you.
Yes. Yeah. So just focus.
Focus.
Yeah.
No boys.
Yeah, no boys.
Thank you so much, Malaika. You're the
you very
best.
much.
Thank
Thank
you for making time, and please come back.
I
Would
will.
love to move with you on everything new that you're working on. When the
yes.
business is here and you're ready to talk about it, please come around.
I will.
As we sign out, do you want to give us a poem?
I want to send you all to
Yeah.
Spotify, Audio Mac, iTunes, and Apple Music to get into Rhymes of Remembrance. All you need to properly listen to Rhymes of Remembrance is 25 minutes of undivided time, good sound, so you can have headphones or you can have good sound. And let me take you on a 25-minute journey through our history. Thank you.
Beautiful. What a beautiful way to end the show. Thank you so much for your company. We're looking forward to seeing you again next week. My name is Jackie. Malaika Uwamahoro was our guest today, and I do hope that this show has inspired you. God bless you.